guys, welcome back to the Enchiridion Team. It's Candace P. We have Money Marshall, we have B. Horace, and we have a special guest here today, my cousin Tavia. Say hey, what's up?
Hey.
So today, why are you looking like that?
What do you look like? You messed up my name.
What I say?
You said it's Money Marshall.
You're not Money Marshall?
He don't go by Money Marshall anymore.
So what you go by?
Walt.
Okay, this is Walt.
Wow.
Walt Mars.
Wow.
My bad. I didn't get the memo, or maybe I didn't read it.
You guys know.
We've been doing it for a long time.
I mean,
You know, it's still fresh, but we're here. I'm so excited to be a part of this episode today. We're just going to sit and talk a little bit about things that's been going on, and all the things that you have going on with your new organization. So we will start off just talking about your organization. So tell us about your nonprofit.
Wow. Well,
Jump right in there.
Right.
yeah, no introduction.
I mean, what about me?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll get to that, but I think it's important. I'm excited about the nonprofit because you just got it established.
Yes.
Well,
So
we
got a 501c3 certification.
Okay.
Just a week ago.
Okay.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Our nonprofit is called Heart of Angels.
Okay.
We provide food, clothing, and preventive care for the homeless. Right now, we're just focused on getting funding to grow our nonprofit, so that way we can put the funding into being mobile, because that's the main portion of our mission statement, is that we are a mobile nonprofit. So that way we can hit more than one area of homeless people that are, or those that are less fortunate within Baltimore City.
Okay.
So that's what our main focus is. But as of right now, we're continuing to do everything that we've been doing. We go down, we set up once or twice a month, and we do catered style hot meals for the homeless. We also provide meals to go. Like I said, we provide clothing. We do have a nurse on our board, so we're able to provide care to those homeless people. We do take, whenever they have requests for things, we take those requests. We try to provide them with those things that they are requesting for, that are need-based for them. The next time that we go down, but yeah, that's our focus. That's what we do.
Okay, and that's awesome. And part of it, the need-based, I think, is so important because we just assume, because they're less fortunate or they're homeless, we just assume, okay, well, you're gonna need this, and you're gonna need that. By asking them, you actually get one-on-one understanding.
And that's exactly why we also provide a catered style meal instead of just giving them a meal that's already packaged.
Right.
A lot of people, they still have allergies, just like we have allergies, you know? They can still be vegan.
Yeah.
They can, try to avoid certain foods due to dietary, due to dietary needs. That's why we don't just pack meals. We try to give them several options, and we allow them to choose those options because they are still humans like we are.
And you really do. It's like, oh, you don't want chicken, we got turkey. Oh, you don't want turkey? Okay, here's some vegetables, And I think that's the beautiful part of it, because like you said, they are still humans. And I wanted to jump right into that because I'm excited about it. This is a new chapter for your organization and for yourself as well. But if we want to just go ahead and get to know you, I already know you, but they don't.
Right.
So,
I'll be interested, like, what made you start it? What made you start the organization?
So actually, man, let's go back. I gotta go back like 14 years.
Okay.
And that was when I very first started doing things to help the less fortunate. So I started by adopting a family.
Okay.
And there was an organization that I got with that would adopt a family, and I would always say, give me the biggest family. Because the bigger families nobody wants.
Right.
And that means they have to spend more money.
yeah.
Because they have to provide more food, more clothing, more gifts.
Yeah.
So I would always say, give me the biggest family, so that way I could try to do my best to provide for them. So I did that for about 4 years until they no longer had that organization. So then I started working with Our Daily Bread.
Okay.
Our Daily Bread has a program where they provide bag lunches. So even though they have meals every single day of the year, sometimes you might not make that meal because they have those meals served at a certain time. But how are you supposed to get there?
Right.
You know, and how do you know what time it is if you don't have a phone or a watch? You know, I mean, you're homeless, right? Yeah. So they do have that option where they have those bag meals that if you do need a meal, they don't just not feed you. They hand you a bag. So I started doing bag lunches. And it started with just 50 of them because it was just me making these meals with a sandwich, a drink, applesauce, a granola bar, fruit snacks, anything that I could get in there. And then it grew. And I was able to do 300 the last time I did it, but it's been about 2 years since I've done it because I've been focusing on, you know, my nonprofit organization and trying to work things that way. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't still give to our daily bread, because I do. So whenever we still have like food left over or snacks or anything like that left over, I try to go to our daily bread and just make sure that I get that stuff to them because I don't want it to go to waste. And they still have people that are coming there, you know, that need those things. So I try to make sure that they get it. But like I said, I started there, and then after doing that, it kind of evolved into me wanting more hands-on with those people that I'm helping, right? Because I want to see who I'm getting to, because it really doesn't. It's kind of a detached feeling when you're just dropping something off, right? Because it doesn't really, you have no connection to these people. So I started wanting to do more. I volunteered at our daily break to serve, but I didn't. Not saying that they don't do their best, because they totally do their best, but it wasn't my best. I felt like I could do better. So that's when I started doing for myself. And I started just as much as I could out of my own pocket, just providing for them, going downtown and just handing out things. And then it kind of just continued to evolve. I talked to a lot of people. I'm a random person talker, right? And I randomly talked to this lady while I was in Walmart getting 5 pounds of lunch meat because she wanted to know why I had so much lunch meat. Because my cart was filled with bread and I had all of these condiments, and she's like, what are you doing with all this meat? Like, what are you doing? And so I just kind of started talking to her, and you know, God has a way of putting people in your path, right? Because she volunteers at a food pantry. And they're always throwing things away. Yeah. And so she was like, you know, give me information because maybe I can talk to the food pantry. They can save you some things. We can link up. Every Friday for the last year, I've been getting donations from that food pantry. And they specifically hold things for me. That's wonderful. So much stuff that I literally have 3 freezers down in my basement and a refrigerator because I need space to put this stuff. I had to build out of my home to have a pantry, because we needed space. Yeah. So I have shelving downstairs for canned goods. No, absolutely. I have shelving for canned goods. We also have space for like we have racks up for clothing. Yeah. Like reusable bags that we get, totes and stuff like that. I've got plenty of space downstairs now because I had to build off to be able to have that space, because I don't like to turn people down because I know that they need this stuff. And then we do what is called a storage clean out. So even if I don't go down and serve a hot meal, we clean out the storage. So we take all the snacks that are prepackaged, drinks, tuna, like anything that we can take and we know they can use. We take clothing, blankets, socks. They always want socks. Yeah. Always need socks. Yeah. Always need shoes. We take those things down just because we're not, you know, feeding them a hot meal doesn't mean they don't still need it. Yeah, exactly. So we just do a clean out. So that way we can continue to take things in because we don't want to turn things down. But yeah, it's been absolutely a success. Like people, they know when I come down. They know my, and you know, they really do, because I talk to them. Like I'm so interactive with them. Like I'm not scared to be down there by myself. I feel very comfortable around them. We joke. We have true conversations. We talk about, like I said, their needs and everything. Because again, they are still human beings. And sometimes they need that interaction just like I need that interaction. Because it makes me feel so good to be able to help these people. And then I'm pulling other people in. You know, this started out as just me. And now I have a board of 5. Yeah. I have regular volunteers. Not that we're still not looking for them, because we always need plenty of hands. But this was from one person and it turned into such a huge project. And it's so important So now we're just trying to continue to grow what I've started and what people are just as passionate about as I am.
Yeah.
You know, so it'll continue to grow.
And it can absolutely grow into so much more. I know since I've started to volunteer and gotten involved with it, Graham comes down with me and he talks about this, and he talks to his students, like when he goes to school, he talks about it. And I just think no matter if you consider yourself less fortunate or whatever,
right,
it's always someone doing worse
than you.
And you can always help. And that's
Absolutely.
what I love about it, because it's like, okay, I may not have money to contribute, but I'm coming out here and giving you my time.
Right.
Last time I prayed for a woman, you know, so.
And speaking of that, let me tell you a story about, because you say, you know, just because you may not be as fortunate doesn't mean that somebody else is worse off.
Right.
So when I was going through my divorce, I had lost my job. At the time, I had a bakery in Owings Mills. That bakery was about to be shut down. My house was in foreclosure. I had gotten into a car accident and wrecked my car.
Jesus. Lord.
Right. But God was just putting me on the path that I needed to do, and that's okay. And so I was going through all of these things at once. And my son's school, it's a Christian school. They sent out a mass email to all of the parents and asked them to donate to my family for the holiday. And when I say I was absolutely blessed, it was so much stuff that it was 3 truckloads of clothing and gifts, right? And then they gave me this box, and it was the cutest little box, and it had a Santa Claus. But when I pulled the Santa Claus, it was just money, money, gift cards. I had like $3,000 in cash. I probably had about $2,000 in grocery gift cards. They gave me gift cards for gas. Yes. So I'm telling you this all because to say I was in a really, really emotional, physical, mental, financial bad place, right?
Yeah.
But I still was able to make 200 sandwiches. Okay, and I took some of that money that they gave me because my blessings didn't stop.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that doesn't mean I stopped blessing other people just because I didn't have it.
Right.
But I had it though because they gave it to me, so I gave it to somebody else.
And that's how you continue your blessings.
Absolutely. And like I said, it has continued to grow. I have met so many people. I'm working with the mayor's office right now to try to get grants through the mayor's office. I've been in a couple of their meetings because, you know, they're really trying to help us out. I spoke with someone that works for Baltimore City Housing, and she was telling me about grant programs that are available to us. Like so many people that I didn't know I knew. I'm glad I know.
Yeah.
You know, because they're truly placing me where I need to be. Absolutely continuously placing me where I need to be.
Yeah, and I think that's amazing, because I think that's a true testament of, you know, what I believe in God. You know what I mean? Like, even though it could be on a smaller scale, grander scale, I just think that as long as you maintain your faithfulness and do what he asks, because you're supposed to help each other. Right. Love thy neighbor. Loving thy neighbor is, you know, being there for sisters. It may not be, you know, monetary, but like simply saying, hey, you got a package on your door, pulling the trash up and stuff like that. And although sometimes it may not be given to you in the ways that you may think, you know what I mean? It always, to me, it's those little tests that God puts you through. Like, okay, are you going to be what I need you to be? Are you going to be like me?
Right. Absolutely.
Or are you going to do it by yourself? You know what I mean?
I think that, you know, our vanity get in the way sometimes. Like, when we want goals and aspirations, like sometimes we want to start an organization, we want to start a business, and we want it to be successful.
Right in there. Yeah.
You know, and I think that Tavia's story, it just shows you how things develop over time, as long as you stay faithful. You know, they'll be like, this is what I work to do to help people. And then, you know, the people will come to you. The opportunity just came to you by you just doing the work.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I do. So I have a bakery. And it's funny you say successful, you know, because I expected my bakery to be extremely successful quickly, you know, but I started baking in 2013. And now I have to shift my my direction because I have to shift towards what God is pushing.
Yeah.
Me. And right now he's not pushing me towards the bakery, he's pushing me to the nonprofit. But I still do farmers markets. I had 2 bakeries, closed down 2 bakeries, but that's not my focus anymore. And at the farmers markets, I have customers. That come and they ask me, like, what are you doing? What else? And immediately I'm telling them about my nonprofit. I don't even talk about anything else. It's like, oh, it's nonprofit, right? They drop stuff off. They drop bags of clothes off. I had 96 chickens delivered to me from a customer that donated. I had people leaving stuff in my carport 24/7. I never know who it is. It's because they just know where I am. They know they can drop it off, and they know it's going to go to someone that needs it. So it's like even though I'm really not baking anymore, it's led me to all of those customers that are so willing to help me. I had a lady, she told me her story and she said, she's gonna bring me some she knits. She said she knits and she was like, I'm gonna bring you some scarves for them. I'm not thinking anything of it. I'm like, oh, okay, that's really nice of her. She brought me this huge bag of scarves that she knitted, right? But she tells me why. And she said she used to be homeless.
Wow.
And when I and when she told me that, it was just like I held her hand and I was like, I wish I could hug you, because you don't understand how much I appreciate this. But the fact that she appreciates me for what I'm doing because she understands how it feels to be there, and to need that help, and she's willing to be on the other side and give the help.
Right.
That means so much.
But that's why I always say you never know. You never know what will happen to you, and you also never know what other people have gone through.
Exactly.
And all today, when I thought about you coming on the show, all today, I'm like, what can the subject be? But
me too. I was like, what am I talking about?
What popped up in my head because it's adversity.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm like, you've been through so much and through such a little time, because you're still young. We're still young here on this earth.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fighting, I just kept thinking, fighting through adversity. And that's what I think about you, because I think so many times, especially as a woman, as a wife, or, as a mother, the things that we have, so many adversities we go through, just having that title and having somebody call you mommy. It's an ongoing thing. And I'm like, it's so easy to just be like, okay, well, this is the role that I'm going to play. That's it. That's all I can take on, because I've been there and I'm still kind of like, I don't want nothing else extra on my plate. So, but it's just so much that's like I said, I just thought about fighting through adversity with you, and it's so admirable. And I'm like, we don't talk we don't talk as if like all the time I'm praising you and stuff like that. But I think it's important to take the opportunity to tell you that, because you could easily be like, listen, this is it. I woke up this morning, that's all I'm gonna do. You know what I mean? And you push further, and it's motivating, like all the women that you do have around you, and it's creating this village of strong women pushing each other.
And I try, because I tell people all the time, even though I don't talk about it all the time, I've been so low, and when I was at my lowest, I didn't think I could get any worse. It got worse. And I've been through so much, and I try to bring the people up that are around me, because I'm like, I was you. I've been there, and I try to be positive. I try to be a positive person. Like, even though I've gone through a divorce, right? If somebody's having marital issues, I will never be the one to say you need to just let that go. I am not an advocate for divorce.
Right.
I would be the first one to say, give it all you got. Try your best. Have you done counseling? Have you talked? What's your communication like? I would be the first one to try and talk it out with you and just give you a different perspective, because I've been through it, and but that didn't stop me from finding love, and that's another thing I try to tell people. I'm like, if they do decide to go through it, I will support you, but don't think that your life isn't
right.
It's over. It's absolutely not over. I had the toughest, and I'm sure people out there have had the worst, but I have had the toughest situation Right. Right. But when you are going through a divorce, it is so hard. Yeah. And I'm still going through it. I'm divorced. I've been divorced for 4 years. And I'm still in court. And I'll be in court in March. So I'll still be in court 2022. You know, because I have to continue to fight for the well-being of my children. But still, what I'm saying is, it's not easy. Just because you leave the person doesn't mean you don't have lingering problems that you have to still face. But that also does not mean that you don't stay positive, that there's not a better life for you. Because I was in a position where I was like, who's going to want somebody that got 2 kids? And at the time that I went through my divorce, my youngest was 1. You know,
like, I got a baby.
Yeah, I got a baby. I barely had a job. I'm like, nobody's going to want me. You know, and once I wanted myself, because I had to want myself. Yes. I had to love me. Yeah. And I felt that I wasn't loving me to the best of my ability, right? So I had to figure out who I was because I had lost myself. I had become who he needed me to be, right? So I had to find me. I did therapy. I definitely got closer to my friends, you know, the people that I knew were really, truly there for me. You know, and I started to figure out who I needed to be because I needed to love me, right? And once I started to love myself, I think that's when I started to realize how someone else was. I think that's something that we forget once we become not just adults, but once we become family, you know, have our own family.
Yeah, and when your lives are intertwined with other people's.
Yes, and we forget to love ourselves. But like I was saying, so after my divorce and everything, I truly had to learn how to love myself, figure out who I was, and then be able to love that person. And it definitely took a lot of like group counseling, individual therapy, just to really focus on me and, you know, what my needs were, how I needed to change back to who I really was, because I was no longer trying to please this one person, you know, and it was just me. And I had to raise my children. But in order to do that, I needed to figure out who I was, right? Yeah. So I learned to love myself so much. But in that process of really learning who I was, I started dating. Okay. And I think I could say that was a mistake, but I think that was God's way of taking me to the person that I needed to be with eventually, right? So while I was going through that whole transition, I met a guy, and we dated for like a year and a half, and he was actually not the person for me. Right. He had qualities that I was used to in my ex-husband, which was comfortable, which was very comfortable. But then I started to realize and figure out that he had those qualities, and that's not who I needed to have in my life. So I had to let that go. And that didn't mean that I didn't love him, because I totally loved him. I truly feel like I was dating for maybe about a year and a half and everything, and I really started to realize that he had qualities that I didn't need because they were qualities that my ex-husband had. And I left him for a reason. Right. It wasn't healthy. We didn't have a healthy relationship. The environment that we were raising our children in was very unhealthy. It was extremely toxic. And that's not what I needed. And not to say that I didn't love the person that I started dating, because I did. I truly think that he was my second love. Okay. My first love was in high school. You know, we dated through second year of college. But I think this was my second love. And not to say that I didn't love my ex-husband, but I was never in love with him. Okay. He was not one of my loves. Okay. And I know this because I look back on situations and I'm like, I was so unhappy. I was trying to push through things because you know how they say you meet somebody and you see the qualities they could have, not the ones that they had.
You think that's easier to say like in retrospect? Like, what, I mean,
no, because going through it, I know.
Yeah, you'll get time. I didn't like this ain't. I don't think that's what it's supposed to be.
I know that I did not love him. I know that I should have never married. But I did. We had a child. You know, I felt like that was the next step. But our relationship was already not healthy at that point. And our son was, when we got married, he was 9 months old. But we had an unhealthy marriage. And then I look at our wedding, and I realized that we didn't spend any time together. And that tells me a lot about something, you know, the relationship. Like when you get married, you should be so into that person that you don't want to be away from them. You're just like, where's my spouse? But I mean, but afterwards though, I'm sure y'all went to dinner, right? Like you wanted nothing but your spouse. You wanted to be with your spouse. I didn't. We weren't together. Okay. I spent, I want to say 95% of the time with my friends. And that other 5% I was with him was for the photos. You know, and so that's how I know he was not, he wasn't one of my loves. Right. So my second love was the guy that, like I said, I should not have been with him. Eventually, I after I let him go, I continued to work on myself, and I really found the person that I am now. And trust me, it's hard to break me now. But I was able to start dating my boyfriend. I've been with him for a little over 2 years. Blind date that just never ended. And I will say, I was very open-minded when dating him. He was not my type. Okay. My ex-husband is white, blue eyes, dirty blonde hair, model. He's just absolutely gorgeous. I'm not saying that my boyfriend is not.
No, he's very fine.
He's absolutely fine. But he is black. And I mean
he's
chocolate.
Chocolatey.
Chocolate.
You got your chocolate chip
on.
I didn't want to pause, but I get a little bit too excited.
He's tall, he's dark, and he is absolutely handsome. He is very well established. He's got everything that I didn't look for in my ex-husband. And he was just not my type. But I said to myself, you know what, God put him here for a reason. Why is she sending me on this blind date? Right? And so it happened, you know, and when I saw his picture, I was like, ugh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. But as I'm saying, absolutely not, I grabbed my phone and I said, well, what's his phone number? Because I'm going to send him a message. And I sent him my picture and I said, hey, my cousin said that you were single. My name is Tavia. This is the one I am in the picture. How are you doing? And he responded back. He was at the movies. He said, LOL, nice to unofficially meet you. I'm at the movies. I'll call you when I'm done. And he called me. And we talked for 3 hours. And after that, it was like, I don't give a crap what he was like. He done got me. My mind, like intellectually, he was so attractive. You know, and he made me laugh so hard that night that I literally peed while I was in bed. But I mean, I'm telling you all of this to say that there is still love. Like it doesn't stop. And I mean, it stops for me with him. But there's somebody else out there, you know, just because
the world is not over.
No, it's not over. It's absolutely not over.
Well, I think a lot of times, because of the comfortability of situations, stop looking like that. But I think like the comfortability and going into a world of the unknown, a lot of times we are like, well, what is out here? You hear other people's experiences and stuff like that. I definitely feel like because of the unknown, we get stagnant and we just like, okay, well, let's just see wherever this goes or whatever the case is or whatever your decision is, whether it's to leave someone or stay with them or whatever. But I definitely think like out of millions and billions of people in this world, you know, there's always going to be some type of, whether if it's romantic or you're building friendships and stuff like that, there's always going to be people for you. You know what I mean? And in a lot of sense, like me and Brandon, you'll hear us say sometimes like, we haven't found our people yet, as in friendships. And like, you know, you're part of that, so don't take it personal. No, but I'm saying like your people is like, you know,
evolve.
They evolve.
They evolve. They lead your life. We grow apart. We go in different directions. And sometimes we have to meet new people.
Yes. And then sometimes, you know, like it's just where you place people and just like, okay, like for me, I know I can count on you. I know, you know, if I need something, you'll be there, and vice versa. Or if it's just me coming over here to get away, like that, you know, that's just a part of the process, people that you can start building your village with.
Yeah.
And then I feel like it'll all come into play. But, you know, Zelda, she just wants to be a part of the scene.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I definitely think like stepping out and taking those risks and fighting through adversity, because we all have our own story.
Yeah.
We all have the adversity that just get thrown on us with life. And I feel like it's important to talk about how you fought through it, or even if you fell down still in the midst of it and you fell further than you thought you could fall. But coming through it and making it happen, that's the story.
Yeah.
That's the true testament of it. What's it all worth? Because some people like don't get that part, or they don't allow themselves to see that part, because they'll fall back into that comfortability to be like, okay, well, it ain't this bad over here.
This is it.
Yeah. So
I
can make it through it. When God could be trying to push you out of the situation, saying, listen, it's uncomfortable
for a reason.
You know what I mean? It's uncomfortable, but let me tell you that you got it. And, you know, I think with the end of the year and how it's wrapping up, there's so many people throughout this year who didn't know they would make it through.
Yeah.
So many people out there who couldn't see December 19th, 20th, whatever. You know, they didn't know that they would make it out of their situation to be a part of the end of the year.
Yeah, I mean,
the festivities.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think that, as I said earlier, people are so nearsighted. You know, and it's kind of hard to have that vision and maintain a vision for brighter days, or that it's the end of a tunnel, even though you don't see the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, and sometimes you're not meant to see it.
But when you're going through, you like, I know that there is an opening on the other side.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, more people need to, you know, keep going instead of stopping. Keep going. Yeah, you did it one time and it was successful. Do it again and make it mastery. Yeah, you did it one time and it was unsuccessful. You know what I mean? But don't let that be the definition of your character, of your mission.
Right. And I like what you said, because just because something is unsuccessful does not make it not worth the while.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I feel like in so many times having that imperfect experience or example to go off of, everything isn't going to be perfect. Everything isn't meant for you to get it right, maybe the fourth, fifth time or whatever. By you dedicating yourself to it, whatever it is, and persevering during those times, that's the moments to care about. That's still you fighting adversity, working your way through it. You know what I mean?
That's good.
So, you know, I wanted to meet today, have us all be here, have Tavia here, because like I said, when I kept thinking about you, that's just what I saw. And that's that's the story that I wanted you to say, because it's a powerful story. It's your life.
Like when people tell me things, I'm just like,
but I know it's uncomfortable.
I'm not, because I don't do things for other people.
No.
And even I do things for other people, but I don't do things because I'm trying to please someone else.
Right.
I'm
doing
doing
it for you.
For me. Because it makes me feel good to be able to help other people. And I mean, if I got it, I'm always like, if I have it, you have it.
Right.
I have it.
Right.
Everybody's gonna have it if I have it.
Right.
And you know, even and I'm telling you, I just continue to get blessed and blessed and blessed. Like I was telling you, I went to go buy my boyfriend's Christmas gift. I bought him a deep freezer, which is, I don't even know why he needs a deep freezer, because I cook all of his meals. But
Blend it up. We'll blend that up.
Okay, yeah. Anything boyfriend related.
No. So what? I'm talking about the deep freezer. So if he doesn't know what we got,
yeah, he knows. He knows.
Okay.
He knows.
I
gave it to him. No, I gave it to him already. I gave it to him already because I couldn't get it out of my truck. Right. I was like, hey, I need some help. Oh yeah, that's yours. But I was going to get his gift, and it was this lady. She was on the side of the road in the median, in Carroll County, and I'm thinking like, I never see people that are homeless in Carroll County. But she had a sign, and I didn't even think to read the sign. I just saw a white board in black writing and a lady holding it. So I just pulled over and I rolled my window down and I said, what do you need? And she was very honest. And she was like, I'm not homeless, but my husband lost his job. We're just trying to make our rent so that we don't have to be out on the street for the holidays. And I said, okay, so how much do you need? And she said $700. And I said, okay, give me your information. I'll see what I can do. And then I hit that corner, pulled up my phone, looked at my bank account. I was like, dang, but that $200 was for my shopping. But I went straight to the bank machine. I got the $200 out extra. I was going to treat myself to some things, but I got that money out. And I went right back around. I wrote my number down and I handed her the money with a piece of paper. And I said, this is my phone number. It's only $200 and I hope this helps. But I had a nonprofit. If you need clothes, if you need food, I can help you. I can get you what you need. And she was like, absolutely. She's like, we need food. We don't have anything for the holidays. My sister-in-law lives with us and she's about to have a baby. We have nothing for this child. And it was just like, dang, I was meant to stop right there. Right. And I mean, I done got somebody to give me a pack and play. I got a bag full of clothes. I had, like I said, I had 3 deep freezers downstairs. I got plenty of food for you. I got a pantry full of, I got plenty of food for you.
The wintertime,
I got blankets. I'm like, I can give you what you need, and it was something just told me to just stop. And it was just like, I was trying to hurry up and rush to go get the other child, but I'm like, no, let me stop real quick. And I mean, she called me. She wound up calling me just to thank me. And she kept thanking me. And she was like, God's just going to bless you. God's going to bless you. And I was like, it's not a big deal. No problem. I'm happy I can help, And the next day, and this is why I say I'm always blessed, because I do things not thinking of, the repercussions, that whatever's going to happen next. The next morning I woke up, the SBA had approved my business and gave us a grant for $13,000.
Hello.
Wow.
Right.
Hello.
And I was like, what the heck? And you know what? I took 1/3 of that and I gave it to the person that used to manage our bakery because we weren't paying her nearly enough. But she showed up. She stayed after. She managed employees for $11 an hour. She baked every cake. She made sure it was crumb coated. All we had to do was come and decorate it. Them cupcakes, they were out. Them chocolate covered whatevers, they were done. Like, it was like, and I tell you right now, and I will give her so much credit, because if it wasn't for her, I would have never known what I was supposed to do. I walked in there and she was just like, handed me the apron, and she was like, do this first, this, I already did this part, come over here and do that. And it was just like, and I knew, and they always knew where I was because I made the biggest mess. And my trailer mess, and she was just cleaning up with me, cleaning up, and do this, and do this, and do this.
That's what you need.
$11 an hour. $11 an hour. And that's it's my best friend. And she stopped working to work for me, right? And I don't care because I got it. And when I got it, she got it. And I gave her 1/3 of that money.
Sure.
Because she needed that. She deserved it. And she never asked me, not once, for anything. Except for what can she do for me?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And that's why I'm like, whenever I get blessed, I'm blessed with somebody.
Oh yeah. And I think that's the perfect way to end the episode. I think that's the message. I think so many people want to do more or whatever, but it's just following what your heart is and following the direction that God is sending you on. And if you don't get nothing else from this episode, I want you to be a blessing. And that's a personality trait, how you respond to things. Like, I ain't gonna go into it, but somebody threw a water bottle at my car. But be a blessing.
But she just started the car wash that you needed.
That was the blessing. And the blessing was telling me to mind my business. So, follow that. And I think it can get you so much farther. And then that one piece that you were talking about, having the people around you that are for you. And that example of your best friend, I won't say her name because she's not on the show, but that example on with your best friend, that's what we need more of. Mm-hmm. And when you got somebody like that on your team, you got to take care of them. Absolutely. So, thank you for being a part of this episode. I think it was wonderful. I like the episode. You'll see more of that too. You want to talk about it?
And I'm coming back, baby. I'm coming back.
All right. And you can follow, like, and subscribe. The Enchiridion Team on most platforms besides what? Twitter. The Enchiridion Team. Like we said, like, follow, and share. We love y'all. And power is in the palm of your hand.